Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good week thus far. Um, just wait a few minutes to give people a chance to pop in. Look at what happened to me. I can't believe it myself. Suddenly I'm just out of the spell I was in, making all of my wishes come true. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I would feel so free. I'm flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. Just like the light of a new day, it hit me from out of the blue, breaking me out of the spell I was in, making all of my wishes come true. Ooh. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could be so free. I'm flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. It's too good to be true. Or can it be? I'm falling for you. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Never thought I could be so free. I'm flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. When Captain America throws his mighty shield, all those who oppose his shield must yield. In the red and the white and the blue it comes true when Captain America throws his mighty shield. Tony Stark makes you feel he's a cool exec with the hottest wheels as Iron Man. All jets of flame, he fights and fights with repulsor rays. Amazing power, it's Iron Man. Amazing power, it's Iron Man. Doc Bruce Banner, belted by gamma rays, turned into the Hulk. Ain't he just gallantly wrecking the town with the powerful? You know, ain't someone who isn't lovable, the ever loving Hulk. Hulk, Hulk. Cross the rainbow bridge of Asgard, where the blue means heaven's roar. And behold, incredulous wonder, the god of thunder, mighty Thor. Stronger than a whale, he can swim anywhere, he can breathe underwater and go flying through the air. Noble submariner, prince of the deep, so beware deadly demons. Lord Namor of Atlantis is the prince of the deep. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web and he sighs. Can't you see? Just like flies. Look out. There goes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen up. He's got radioactive blood from a thing overhead. Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Welcome is, he is yours, action is his reward to him. Life is a great big hang up, whenever there's a hang up, there goes a Spider-Man. Let's see now, what else? Captain Caveman! On the Great Space Coaster, get on board on the Great Space Coaster. Off we go, come on board, step inside. We're going for a magic ride, going to the other side, where only rainbows hide. On the Great Space Coaster, get on board on the Great Space Coaster. Off we go. Come on board, step inside, going for a magic ride, going to the other side, where only rainbows hide. On the Great Space Coaster, get on board on the Great Space Coaster. Off we go. Let's see. Let's see. Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition met the greatest escape ever known. High on the rapids, we all just came tumbling down, 1,000 feet below. In the land on the lawn. In the land. In the land of the lost. In the land of the lost. Oh, mercy, mercy me. Oh, ain't they what they used to? No, no. Oh, yeah, they just ended. Hopefully they'll be on soon then. Let's see first off before we send any messages. See if there's anybody. Nope, nobody else is here yet. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. We have a second person. Thank you for dropping in. Thank you for the like and the share. Hope your day is going well so far. And we are actually getting to the 10-minute mark now, so I guess it would be a good time to start and going. So what's on tap for tonight? Well, I got 5 articles again, all from Bounding into Comics. This time, 3 comics-related articles and 2 anime-related. So we'll hit the comic articles first. Let's see. So among those, we have a couple revolving around, I guess, one of the latest Spider-Man comics coming out. Let's see. So we got the Spider-Man Lotus fan. So we got that one. We also have another, Marvel Comics introduced a new gay Spider-Man variant in upcoming Spider-Verse series. And then on a DC story, Black Adam's descendant to replace dying anti-hero in new series by Christopher Priest. We'll talk about all those. Also, we got a couple of new, let's see, we got season 2 of Tokyo Revengers confirms premiere date, as well as Pop Star Murder Mystery manga finally receives anime adaptation. So with all that being said and done, why don't we go ahead and with that, why don't we go ahead and get started then on the articles here. We'll get into this in a moment. Let's see if you guys are saying anything yet. Nope, no comments, but at least we got some people here, so good to see. And if I appreciate the likes and shares. If we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started with the article here. Spider-Man Lotus fan film lead actor and director comes under fire. That should say comes, not come. Comes under fire for offensive comments made as teenagers. As a teenager. So, article by Ryan Pearson, published yesterday. So here we go. The director and main actors of the soon-to-be-released Spider-Man Lotus fan film have come under fire for racist and offensive comments they made when they were teenagers. From Gavin Knopp, let's see. Source Spider-Man Lotus, Gavin J. Knopp, Warren Wayne, and Jacob Watson. A crowd-funded fan film, which successfully raised $112,079 by the time its Indiegogo campaign ended, Spider-Man Lotus is set after the death of Gwen Stacy and finds Peter Parker plagued with guilt over his inability to save her. Overwhelmed by his feelings of failed responsibility, Parker is considering whether or not the Spider-Man should be no more. All right, so however, after a terminally ill child wishes to see Spidey during his final days, the web slinger finds himself conflicted on what to do. Some of that I remember that you kind of took that aspect in part from the Spider-Man animated series of the 90s. I remember, I think it was part 2 of one of the arcs there. Make a Wish, I believe, was the title of the episode. Let's see. Teased to feature appearances by such characters as Mary Jane Watson and the Green Goblin, everything seemed to be looking up for Spider-Man Lotus ahead of its promised summer 2022 release window. Then, on June 18th, Twitter user at, I guess it's pronounced Thunder, albeit spelled wrong, but we know about the Twitter spellings and all that. Took to the social media platform to expose what they alleged were several racist private Instagram messages they had received from Warren Wayne, the actor playing Spider-Man Lotus, titular Webhead. Quote, content warning, extreme racism, at Thunder warned, quote, is this your Spider-Man? Warren Wayne is so gross. Hoping Lotus recast him. Hashtag Spider-Man Lotus. Well, okay. Here's one of the things. Okay, thus far from what we've seen here, I have a couple issues already here. One, it was a private email, so not necessarily meant for broadcast. And what was the context here? was he actually being racist towards the person he was sending the message to, or was this just some kind of like joke or something? Well, this I guess was a what exactly did these messages contain? The messages presented in this tweet read, quote, although the bleep looks like he bombs bleep for fun, this is in brackets that Mexican bleep unquote quote I commented y'all ever make good and funny memes just to flex on Blend Vision bleep, and he got mad, and it was mean as hell, always saying and N word, and saying he had female dogs. Let me just read that silently for a moment here. Well, if anything, this seems kind of like a drunken rant to me. Granted, it may not necessarily fully excuse um, what he said here, but um, it seems that Thunder had created their Twitter account just to expose Wayne, as aside from one tweet wherein they wrote, quote, I don't know anything about the Lotus short film, but I see it get so much attention, and I'm sure the person directing it is great. I just want people to know how nasty the lead is. Unquote. Yeah, it sounds a little bit like cancel culture to me, but okay, here, okay. Again, were these messages that were direct to Thunder, or was this just something Thunder decided to go track down just to try to screw this guy over? That's what I wanted to know. Because if these were meant to be private, it may have just been him blowing off steam, or it could have just been a stupid drunken rant. That's kind of what I'm getting out of it. But hey, Shadowhawk. Hey, RJ. Let's see. Oh, a kid did stupid stuff in high school. As an adult, he should be canceled. These SJWs are sold. Yeah, RJ, good point there. If a lot of this stuff was done when he was in high school, which is how the headline read. And hey, Shadowhawk, thanks for popping in, and I thank you guys for the likes and shares. Yeah, I mean, if this was done in high school, just because he did it in high school doesn't necessarily mean he's there. People do change and mature as they get older. I mean, this almost sounds like this guy's just trying to virtue signal and just be a jerk. Let's see. Their feed is comprised solely of retweets of their accusations and a demand to Wayne himself to that he, in quotes here, address the messages. The next day, Wayne apologized for his comments, issuing That's something you don't do. You don't you don't apologize because that will never be enough for them. Apologized for his comments, issuing a lengthy statement via Twitter in which he sought, quote, to come out in regards to certain things from my past, unquote. Quote, years ago when I was in high school, I used to say terrible things. A lot of kids do. A lot of teenagers do. All right. He began suggesting the leaked messages were written during that time period. Quote, I used offensive language, often phobe and homophobic or racially insensitive, casually or in jokes. I am sorry and I'm ashamed. Oh boy. Only problem is this guy's making the biggest mistake by apologizing for this. Because it won't be enough. It will not be enough. Quote, I was raised in a homeschool conservative. Okay. Okay, yeah, let's start dumping on conservatives again. Let's start dumping on. Okay, first off, not homeschool conservative environments are not. All right. Never apologize. They will eat you alive. Yep, you're right there, Shadowhawk. Many commentators, myself included, have stated that. Or if you are going to apologize for anything, apologize that they took offense to it. So that's, if anything. But, quote, I was raised in a homeschool conservative environment in a small town in Arkansas. Hey, RJ, look at that. They're going to start attacking people in Arkansas now, too, here. Where I had to sneak around on other iPads and computers to use social media, unquote. Wayne continued, quote, my family has always been associated with groups such as the Duggars, and those values were subsequently pushed onto me. I didn't get my own cell phone until I was 18. I was in a bubble where I wasn't aware of how serious it was for me to say these things or those words. My ideas of right and wrong were skewed. I don't think so. If you were actually raised in such an environment, I don't think that's an excuse, kid. All right, I'm sorry, but conservative Christians are not racist. Sounds like this guy's trying to placate here, and he's gonna get eaten alive. It is gonna probably end up hurting the film now. Quote, my friend group at the time encouraged and perpetuated these habits, he added. Quote, all of it quickly became part of my vocabulary because of the lifestyle around me. And I didn't want to be excluded. And I'm embarrassed to say so. I had convinced myself it wasn't wrong for me to say because of to justification. Okay, I think he was trying to say no. I was constantly persuaded to believe, and I was never held accountable for it. Unquote. My guess is this guy sounds like this guy is trying to be an SJW. And he's figured, well, I'll get the heat off of me by attacking the evil right, evil conservatives. He just opened the door to internet. Yep. Arkansas is a lovely state, minus the Clintons. Well, we all have a friend there, right? We all have a friend there in RJ, right? Christian conservatives are not racist. Christianity has nothing to do with race. True there, Shadowhawk. In fact, it was actually believed. Here's the thing. Now, I don't know if this was ever confirmed or not, but if you remember the story of Jesus' crucifixion, right, and Simon the Cyrene, right, it is said I don't know if it's more legend than fact, but it was said that Simon the Cyrene was actually black. So when he came along and helped Jesus by carrying his cross, I don't know if it's true. I know it's said to be legend. I don't know if it's actually true, but Simon Cyrene may have been black when he offered to help Jesus carry his cross. So, anyways, getting back to the article here. All right, let's see. All right, we just read that part. Spider-Man Lotus, Gavin J. Knopp, Warden Wayne, and Jacob Weston. The actor further explained, quote, "The groups I associated with online were not good people, but I wanted to fit in and have friends." So maybe, okay, so he just almost sounds like he contradicted himself here, because he was first blaming it on his upbringing, but now it seems like he's shifting to blaming it on the online group that supposedly his parents were just so backwards and stuff like that, they wouldn't let him have a cell phone, they wouldn't let him on social media. So usually in those cases, in those situations when you have kids that are quote unquote sheltered and try to find some way to sneak online, usually it's not the Christian group that they're associating with. It's usually a non-Christian group they're associating with. I bet you that if we were to go back, these either they were not actually Christians that he was associating with online, or they were people who were saying they were Christians as a way to get him in. All right. So this guy, I think, just contradicted himself right here in this statement. He's saying, because if he's sneaking around online, initially he was saying, it sounded like he was trying to say it was his upbringing, and now it's almost like he's saying, no, it's the people that I hung out with online. My guess, though, is the people he hung out with online were probably not Christians. Okay, they were not necessarily the same group of people that he was hanging out with in his real life. Most native Israel are not white by any stretch of the imagination. So was Jesus white? I don't know. He was born in the Middle. Well, yeah, I think traditionally how he's normally depicted traditionally, artistically, visually, it's anywhere from white to like quote unquote Caucasian to like what it, light brown, or light to medium brown, um I think that is generally how he's depicted. So that just goes anyways. But yeah, I don't. Jesus may not have been Caucasian, even though he's often depicted as being Caucasian. He may have been. He may have had a decent tan on him. So, anyways, that's again speculation, because obviously there were no photographs or even real good artwork from around the turn of the millennium, as it were. At around the transition from BC to AD or whatever. Were no actual pictures from 33 BC to 7 AD to indicate if what he actually looked like. Let's see. So groups I associated with online were not good people, but I wanted to fit in, so I aligned myself and tried to act in the ways they'd approve of, which included saying offensive things for the sake of a reaction or making ignorant jokes. Quote, I was an immature kid with too much time and no sense of integrity. Wayne said, quote, I was stupid. There was even well, the thing is, it sounded like in a way he was actually rejecting his upbringing, in fact, a little bit here. And if he was sneaking out and going on the internet, in places where his parents couldn't see him, okay, then his upbringing, if you think about it, the more you dig into this, the more it sounds like his parents or his upbringing didn't really have anything to do with this. This is all him. Okay? This is him sneaking out and then getting onto the internet and then coming under the influence of whatever he was on the internet. It wasn't now it could be that when he did sneak onto the internet, maybe he did come across, maybe he came across some white supremacists. Okay? But for the most part, most white supremacists are not necessarily Christian. Okay? So, let's see, too much. Okay. Wayne said, quote, I was stupid. There was even a time when I made an account solely dedicated to hating on Eunice, who is now one of my best friends. He knows about that account now and the thing I used to say about whoever Eunice is. But he forgave me because how much I've worked, changed my habits over the past 4+ years. So this is all in high school. If he's, let's say, 15 to 17, that would have probably make him now 4+ years, like 19. Let's see, be like 19 to 21 now, I would say, or 19 to 20. Yeah, 19 to 21. Quote, I'm embarrassed and sad at who I was, and I'm sorry to anyone I may have hurt years ago or to anyone I may hurt now by revealing this information, unquote. Then apologized. Quote, when I was finally able to leave the bubble I was in and find people with a more stable sense of morality, I was able to be told that the things I said were wrong, and I learned I pushed to change. Again, it sounds like now he's going back trying to blame his upbringing on this, and I think that's, personally, I just think that's just total BS. Quote, but regardless of any of this, I should have known better, unquote, he concluded. And I spend every day wishing I hadn't been a terrible person when I was younger. But I can't change the past. All I can do is take responsibility and own up to my incredible shortcomings and continue to be a better person. I hope you all can forgive me. I'm sorry, unquote. I think there's a term that's been going around the last couple of years that really, really marks this point well. Beta. Exactly, Mike. It was a couple thousand years ago, so I've been busy on the weebs for about 4 years, Never met a white supremacist yet that I know of. I've been heavy on the webs for about 4 years. Never met a white supremacist yet that I know of. Yeah, but yeah, the thing is that the problem with our problem right now, and they're doing it, they're doing this, and not that I'm looking to get into a huge political discussion here, but just to help y'all understand ideologically what's going on here. There are many on the left who are trying to vilify. They're using everything they can to vilify anybody who stands in their way of gaining power by vilifying the right. You know, with the whole with what they're saying about like overturning a Roe v. Wade, with saying how the public has lost. No, I think if you take a closer look at those polls saying how they lost, it was probably done by left leaning newspapers who were basically just asking left leaning people. I think problem is that there are many in the urban areas who absolutely hate the fact that people in the rural areas have an equal say in matters than those in the urban areas. That's what. Yeah, those it's like those dumb hillbillies up in the hills there. They get the same amount of say that we do. So, anyways, as we continue on here, this controversy eventually drew a statement from the project's director Gavin J. Knopp, who on June 20th, which was a week ago yesterday, admitted that, quote, this morning many of us were shown resurfaced messages that Warden Wayne, the lead actor of Spider-Man Lotus, had sent on Instagram, and yes, I am just as disgusted by those messages as anyone else is. Quote, they're hurtful, obscene, and offensive, unquote, he said. Quote, there is no defending them, and the outrage is justified. This movie was not created to perpetuate hate or bigotry or racism. It was not born to inspire, it was born to find hope. Warden's actions were not reflective of these sentiments, and I feel ashamed that you have been let down in such an impactful way. Another SJW just playing spin doctor. Quote, in the past, Warden has been open with me about his former ignorance, as well as what could surface as a result, and I have done everything in my power to hold him accountable, not only then, but also today and forever, unquote. He elaborated, quote, I bluntly told him that this is going to live with him for the rest of his life. There's nothing he can do about it, and that's the reality that he has accepted, unquote. Knopp continued, quote, I can't do anything much as a consequence, as this is a nonprofit project, and there's nothing that we as creators have gained. However, please do not allow this to detract from a tireless passion that crew members have worked across the board to deliver. These people have put themselves on the line to achieve the vision that I have set forth, and they don't deserve to have their work diminished because of one person's actions. Well, based on what we're seeing here, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's the fact. I don't necessarily think it's Warden's initial statements that are going to burn this movie. What's going to end up burning this movie is Warden and Gavin's reaction to all this being exposed. This beta male apologism is what's gonna burn this film. There are probably many on the right who probably won't see the film now because the way they're acting here, they're acting like a bunch of beta male apologists. You know. Now I don't know what this initial person Thunder was doing. If this is trying to either get back at Warden for some personal reason or what have you. But had they gone more with the idea, well, he did this, now granted, he did it as well, but basically by going full blown SJW, that's what's going to hurt them. Not, he can acknowledge that maybe he was wrong as a kid, and he apologized if he hurt anybody. But now I'm saying, you don't really apologize to these people, not to this extent. Acknowledge that it was something done as a youth, and that doesn't necessarily reflect the person you are now. That's the extent of it. Because as teenagers, everybody has done something stupid as a teenager. Okay, everybody has. It's par for the course, right? Because you lack the emotional maturity to know right from wrong. That's why you have to stick close to your parents. Not support, just never seen it. If you call everyone an N-word that disagrees with you, I don't think it's helpful to society in general. Yep. Again, good point there. Good point there, Shadowhawk. All right. So, anyways. So this is the first story, and we've gone. Last night we had 5 stories, and I got through them pretty quick. Tonight, the first story we're taking quite a bit of time with. Adding to his protestations, Connaught told those concerned, quote, "It would be hypocritical of me to make this movie about redemption and growth and self-improvement if I did not allow for someone to accept their accountability, take charge, and aspire to become better than they were again." Now that's a good statement right there. That part of it's a good statement. However, his apology is not mine to accept, nor is it for the communities unaffected by his words, unquote. And here we go with the SJW speak again. Quote, "To the marginalized communities that his words have impacted, including those in my own crew, I apologize," unquote. He said as he drew his post to a close. Quote, "This is disheartening for us all, but we will continue to work towards finishing the movie as it was intended. The character of Spider-Man was made to represent everyone, regardless of race, gender, or identity. And he has been that way since the dawn of his creation. We will do what we can to continue opening the space for the marginalized communities within the fandom, and his legacy belongs to us all. Unquote. However, Connaught's desperate groveling. Oh boy. Okay. Um, Ryan really goes on him here. I guess Connaught's desperate groveling would prove to be for naught, as instead of the story ending here with the Spider-Man Lotus production crew wondering how to move forward, the director himself would soon have the spotlight turned on him. Oh, later that day at Berkman Boom likewise unearthed a deluge of Connaught's own alleged offensive messages, declaring, quote, since Warden Wayne has been exposed, I think it's a better time than ever to expose GJK Central, aka Gavin Connaught. Oh boy. In the screenshot shared by uh, Berkman Boom, the director is depicted as having made such comments as when you find out you're 0.05% black, so you can say bleep. Y'all mind if I black people noise, unquote, dismissing an artist Stark suit design for Spidey due to it having, and I don't like that word myself, but um, I'm not going to use it. Black lines on it, and using a homophobic slur in an argument, telling a supposed critic, "Ha, nice try, bleep, James. Um, I never do that. Go back to writing bleep movie reviews." Unquote. But is this more recent? You're saying that this is more recent? Uh, the user also presented a voice clip wherein Connaught could allegedly be heard saying, quote, all right, buddy, go bleep off to more man. Okay, okay, little bleep. Leave the bleeping chat, you piece of bleep. And we all know what those words are. If you see those words, I'm just, as you all know, I usually prefer not to swear because it just shows a lack of intelligence. You can get your point across with that. It's just out of control. Yeah, cancel culture altogether. Shadowhawk is out of control. Anyways, I'm gonna take a pause for a moment because my room's getting a little dim in here, so I think it's time to at least see if we can get some more light in here. So I'll be right back here. Leave you some music to listen to while I'm away. Hopefully, you guys will stick around as we continue this. It should be a little better. Um, Gotta go, Mike. Hail, bro. Well, Thanks for coming in, anyways. Shadowhawk. You stuck around for a little while at least. Um, Hopefully you'll come around more. All right. Just back down. Okay, so in another alleged argument, Knopp dismissed someone who disagreed with him as a quote worthless sack of bleep unquote who no one took seriously and was quote going to die a lonely miserable death unquote. Now again, this almost sounds like just a rant or just somebody just going off on somebody. Granted, some of the language shouldn't be there, but this sounds more like in the heat of the moment, as it were. At the same time, Knopp was coming under fire, an alleged Spider-Man Lotus BFX team member came forward with their own allegations. Quote, well, Spider-Man Lotus is trending again for reasons no one could have guessed, me included, unquote, quipped at low res JPG. Quote, during my time on Lotus, I only interacted with a few crew members, but I never heard of any racism going on, past or present. I wouldn't have joined the production had I known, unquote. Again, it again goes to show you that this may have just been a hit piece on these particular guys. Now, granted, I think their reaction is wrong. I think they're buying into the whole SJW BS. So, excuse my use of BS. Quote, I can speak for the whole former VFX team when I say we do not look back on Lotus as a fond experience, and this is retroactively another reason, unquote, they claimed. Oh, wait, so if the movie ends up being a success, you're still gonna, you know, anyways, quote, while Gavin was not outwardly rude to us on purpose, there was still a level of disconnect that eventually caused us to quit. Unquote. Yeah, but if the disconnect doesn't necessarily mean that anything racial was going on. It just could just simply mean personality conflict. For this, at low res JDG alleged, quote, some of this was due to Max Onhammer's work. His animation for the trailer was unusable and caused a 40-hour crunch to get it finished. And despite being fired, he was brought back, and I was forced to hand my assets over to him. Gavin stood by him, so baffling. Now, in that, if the guy's work was subpar, bringing him back may not have been a bright idea. Quote, there's a myriad of small things that build up, quote, death by 1,000 cuts, in smaller quotes rather, sort of situation, unquote. They said, quote, I was miscredited continually and even sent YouTube tutorials by Gavin to try and, in smaller quotes, help me do my job. What? And now, come to find, we were lied to on top of all that, unquote. Now it almost sounds like these SJWs are just being exposed for being SJWs. A dismayed at low res JPG soon admitted, quote, I wish I could be more proud of my time on Lotus because I really learned a lot. It's some of my most technically proficient work, and it's a shame for it to be attached to a project with this type of legacy now, unquote. All right. If you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream and see if we can get some more friendly people on here, that'd be appreciated. We're covering quite a hotbed here. Um, all right. So as we continue on with the article here. At low res, at low um, as res JPG later added that Canop was not the sole reason to blame for the crunch as unforeseen things happen, unquote. Clarified that, quote, the pitfalls were due to miscommunication, not malicious intent. Yeah, but in your previous statements, it sounded much like you're still trying to throw Gavin and Warden under the bus there, Low Red. They also emphasized that they had been, quote, compensated for our work, unquote, while simultaneously denying that they were not the party behind recent leaks surrounding the film. As, quote, communication with Gavin ceased in January, all of this new footage coming out was shot well after we left, unquote. Said leaks included images of the Green Goblin's costume, on-set photos, and even a draft film's entire script. It almost sounds like somebody's trying to sabotage this film, what it comes down to. Somebody has more of an axe to grind with the people involved, particularly with Gavin and or Warden for some reason. Anything else. Hours later, Canop would address the allegations made against him, returning to Twitter to explain, quote, from Photoshop screenshots of me saying outrageous things to screenshots of things that old admins had sent from my account several years ago, the actual old messages that do need to be addressed, to an entire situation that needs to be addressed all on its own. I'm in a bit of a state of shock right now, and am not in a proper space to speak about all of it. Not fine. So he's basically saying that not everything there is some of that's Photoshop. Again, what it seems to be boiling down to here is that, um, and this is kind of unfair. Now, granted, they're SJWs. Maybe they kind of asked for this by reacting the way they did. But there's still due process here. You still don't cancel somebody for something they said when they were teenagers. It just sounds like somebody's just trying to go after these people. Not fair to those who need clarification um, amidst all this utter chaos, unquote. He insisted, quote, but it's not healthy for me to try combating a wildfire that continues to relentlessly spread, unquote. Well, of course not, because you tried to appease the thing. Okay, Gavin, the mistake you made is you and Warden both tried to appease these people, and because you tried to appease them, now they're going to dogpile you. Now they're going to dogpile you and try to bury you because of how you responded here. I will be back with an in-depth response to it all, but for right now, I'm taking a step back. Social media, unquote, cannot eventually concluded. Returning 6 hours later to offer his quote unquote final word on the allegations with yet another lengthy statement, Canop opened, quote, the past few days have been unlike anything I've ever felt or seen before. It's the most unprecedented series of events I have ever encountered, unquote, arguably the understatement of the month. Quote, nothing could have prepared me for it, but we're here now. The last 2 or 3 years should have been preparing you for it, you dingbat. This is how they've been. This is how they've been how they've been going off on people on social media like this. You've been seeing this. You should have known. The problem is when you sleep with snakes, you're gonna get bit. He wrote, quote, I've spent all day trying to gather evidence, get statements, get timestamps, tried to distinguish the reality from the fabrication. But I think I'd ultimately just be wasting your time. I'm going to just be transparent with you all, and that's all I can do, unquote. Or you can just stop being an SJW. Or you can just stop being woke. Because you know what they've been saying, right? You go woke, you go broke. Quote, I do not condone any of the fake screenshots circulating around, unquote, not began. Quote, I am and always will be one to take accountability for myself and accept where I am wrong. However, many of these are not reflective of the way I currently speak or express myself. Uh, the same could be said of Warden. The same could be said of Warden right there. And everyone close to me can account for that. All of the real messages are from when I was either 14 or 15 years old. And if they're screen recorded, they're legit. I learned a long time ago about the severity of this all, and I have worked tirelessly to escape those habits, unquote. Moving to address, quote, the quote unquote, the real messages in smaller quotes, the director told fans, quote, while I can't attest to all of them, I can say that some pretty disgusting screen recordings and screenshots out there are real. In my early years of middle school and high school, the R word, along with other unacceptable terms, such as the F word, were part of my vocabulary, and I had used them fairly in, fairly frequently. Yeah, that is kind of a problem too. And again, that's not now. Grant, there are parents who should probably be, you know, being a little more active when the kids are doing that. So the teachers, but you know. You're just letting this go too much. I'd use them. I'm not proud of it, and I wish I had been more mature. Nope. You're 14, 15. Nobody can completely, you know, not that it is an excuse, but still no better than to use them, along with several other immature and nonsensical statements. He then attempted to explain, quote, aside from anything on my personal account, I cannot identify which of these are me and which are not, because the Instagram account, formerly known as Spidey Central, unquote, um, which some of the messages were purported to originate from, quote, was not originally solely owned by me, unquote. Quote, the account was given to me in April 2018 before it had picked up any traction. And some admins from my previous Flash account were given access, unquote. Canop claimed, um, quote, some spoken chats with that account, and it wasn't until I got older when I realized the severity of who I was associating myself with. I no longer speak to these people, and I don't know where to contact them. Unquote. All I can do is hold my younger self accountable for the messages that were me, just as much as I have held accountability for Warden for not being cognizant to realize the immaturity of what I was sending. Unquote. He dramatically stated, quote, I apologize to the communities that these may impact, and I spend most days wishing that I could redo those years of my life. I'm sure many more messages will surface throughout the day and coming weeks, and if you truly do believe that I have matured, then that's all I can ask for. Unquote. It's basically asking for forgiveness. Um, but again, it's not going to be enough. Not going to be enough for the people who are against you. They're not going to stop until you're dead and buried, both figuratively and literally. Because that's the kind of people these people are. Quote, I do not plan on being active on social media much at all anymore, unquote. Not ultimately declared. Well, I would have to applaud him for that because sometimes there are certain sites that will just ignite the evil in you. Quote, the film will be released because I owe it to those who were promised it for years now. Thank you, and I am sorry that these messages and comments were once sent by me. Unquote. After this, Berkman Boom revealed both his origins and how this um, apparent instance of, in small quote, revenge was 5 years in the making. Quote, my name is Matt. I am 15, unquote. He wrote in a lengthy statement of his own. Quote, I met Gavin Canop in early 2017. Okay. I was only about 9, about to turn 10. I looked up to him more than anyone else because I finally had found someone who loved comics like me. Unquote. Oh boy. This story gets darker. The deeper you go, the darker it seems to get. Oh boy, where pray tell could this be going? Quote, he was even going to help me make my own Spider-Man fan film, unquote, he claimed. Quote, he was going to write and edit the whole project. He eventually started to get more followers and changed his platform to GJK Central and started to drop me. I had other friends, but no one who I felt understood me like Gavin. Unquote. Great. Quote, I wanted to be just like him, unquote. He called Berkman Boom. Quote, having him drop me made me extremely upset. I found these messages from the last couple of years, got upset. I was too young to realize how problematic and toxic he was. I've said stupid things in the past. I won't deny it. But like I said, I was very, very young. So it's kind of interesting here. The deeper you dive into this, it's almost like these SJWs are eating themselves. They are just eating themselves here. And very easily influenced by those I looked up to. Unquote. Quote, I was heavily influenced by him and thought what he said was, in smaller quotes, edgy and in smaller quotes, cool. He said, quote, I've grown in the last couple of years having to watch him become very well known. I wanted to come, well, I haven't, this is the first I heard of the guy. I wanted to come out and quote unquote, in smaller quotes, expose him a while ago for different reasons than I am now. I wanted to let everyone know that he doesn't care about those who have been with him since the beginning, unquote. So yeah, this is a bit of a revenge thing. You really think about it. Quote, I was too scared to come forward because of how strong the Lotus fan base was, unquote. Teenager conceded. Quote, I was too afraid to be attacked by everyone for exposing Gavin for something that may, in brackets, be considered, well, that may consider be well, I think it should say considered, not consider, in smaller quotes, silly or silly, smaller quotes, petty. Every time his accounts would say something like that, it wasn't some administrator, it was him. I'm disappointed in him and for not taking full accountability and putting the blame on others. Sounds sounds like sounds like an SJW devour fest. Sounds like a SJW devour. Hey, RJ, no apology will ever be good enough because they can't see people changing because they can't change. Plus, they need enemies to hate, not to convert. Exactly. You, exactly. This SJW, RJ, SJWs as a whole want to see our country burn. Okay? SJWs want to see America burn to the ground. All these hard left liberals, all the BLM, you know, Antifa, many hard left politicians, mainstream media, they want to see America burn. You know, that's why we can't let them win. You know, they want war. We have to be prepared for war. I've been on this one article for over an hour already. A lot of commentary in this. A lot of commentary on the human condition here with this. We're seeing these people um, Unsurprisingly, Knopp's second statement did little to negate the blood pooling in the water. Following his apology, Twitter user at Steve Rogers 1943 presented even more screenshots of the director's alleged comments. Yep, as RJ just said it will never be enough. They're not looking for conversion, they're looking for obliteration. Comment 3 of these, wherein he supposedly described Asian peoples as quote unquote dog eaters and claimed that venom was quote made by a superior white man unquote. The user also shared a video of a user allegedly searching for Knopp's anti-Asian comments in which he used the term quote unquote dog eaters. In one last twist of the knife, this controversy eventually pulled in Amazing Spider-Man 3 fan film creator and writer Derek Woods, the creator and writer for the who used the attention drawn to Spider-Man Lotus in order to quote take down it in brackets here it's racist goblin unquote. Okay, first off, if you're gonna say that racists are evil, why not have a racist bad guy? Okay? If you're claiming racism is one of the greatest evils of this earth, then why not have one of the most hated and heinous evil bad guys be a racist? Woods then proceeded to share a number of screenshots purported to be from Salandria. And one actor can allegedly be read defending Knopp's use of the N-word, opining to another user, quote, to be honest, I have more of a problem with the overall sentiment and the use of the word N. That doesn't sound like Gavin to me, but you never know, unquote. Well, okay, the thing is, even, okay, here's an interesting question to ask. I've heard there have been in some instances where black people, particularly black youth, have used the N word towards themselves and their peers. Does that mean that they're racist against their peers? It's something to kind of think about, you know? And another, Salandria, can be seen responding to a user's mocking message of, quote, yo, yo, goblin, uh, John Salandria. Hey, baby, how does it feel to be known as the racist goblin? With the dismissal, quote, you really think stuff like this helps your in smaller quotes cause? Well, again, here's my answer to that. If you're trying to depict racism as one of the most evil, heinous things in the world, then why not have a bad guy be racist? Okay, it does make a certain amount of sense. If Goblin is probably one of the most evil, heinous villains that Spider-Man faces, and you believe that being part of that being a racist is one of the most evil, heinous things in the world, Why not make the most evil, heinous villain racist then? Now, granted, it doesn't really add much to the story in doing so, okay? But still, if you're going to like hound on somebody for being quote unquote a racist villain, okay, it's kind of stupid because you know the thing is that it would be natural for a villain, especially in your line of thinking, if being racist is one of the most evil, heinous things to be. Why not have a villain be racist? In quote here, dude, the actor supposedly followed up. Quote, what you don't understand could fill books. The shame all you want is attention. Unquote. A separate set of screenshots presented by Wood as evidence of Salandria's supposed racism sees the actor asking a critic, quote, if you're gonna argue real issues, use real English, unquote, only to be met with numerous disingenuous attempts to gotcha them. Yeah. I'm just looking at the tweet here. But at least in the person going after Derek Woods here, I actually have to kind of agree with the guy making these things about idea, not argue real issues, argue real, you know, if you're too dependent on slang and swear words, it does make you sound unintelligent. Doesn't matter what color or race you are, it does make you sound unintelligent if you rely heavily on slang and swear words to try to get your point across. While further claims have proven to be plentiful and sometimes dubious, including one that says Knopp dismissed current MCU Spider-Man director John Watts' recent works as bleeping garb, unquote, in a private message, and another that asserts at Berkman Boom has their own history of questionable remarks. The one thing that is for certain is that fans and the creators are miserable with the whole con. Well, of course they are. This is a case of SJWs eating themselves. This is the case of SJWs literally just feasting on their own flesh. You got blood and granted, AEW's got an event called Blood and Guts tomorrow, but looking at this article, it's blood and guts already. Let's see. The Indiegogo page has backers asking for refunds and their name removed from the credits. The Amazing Spider Lab, one of the customers who worked on Spider-Man's Shoot for Lotus, stated that while they didn't support the comments, they didn't wish to condemn someone, quote, for something stupid that was done years ago when they were kids. Quote, I also think that all the hateful behavior towards the movie is just as stupid because it's damaging a lot of people that didn't have anything to do with it, unquote. Amazing Spider-Man Lab denounced the outrage. Quote, the movie is not just about two people. It took out, I think it's supposed to be a whole team, even though he said a wild team, to make it, and we don't deserve to be screwed up this way, unquote. Yeah, and that's unfortunately what people like Burke and Boom probably don't understand. Sometimes when you go after one person, you end up screwing over a whole bunch of other people who didn't really have anything to do with it. You know, quote, this didn't have to happen. We didn't deserve all this bleep. Quote, he lamented. Quote, we can't even be happy about all our hard work anymore because we're afraid it will be always associated to racism. It doesn't have to be this way. Not all the people involved deserve this treatment, and the movie deserves to be out there and seen. And he's right. It's kind of the problem with cancel culture is that everybody loses with cancel culture. Everybody involved loses with cancel culture. What do you think of this entire debacle? Are Wayne and Knopf's comments the foolish behavior of teenagers or signs of their hateful minds? Was the exposure warranted? Let us know your. I think it might be a mix of both. It might be in part the foolish behavior, because even adults who have the hateful mindset at times know not to like say it too loudly, or else they might get, unless they just don't care. Okay, so it might be a mix of both in there, in my opinion. And as to was the exposure warranted? In this case, no. Exposure wasn't warranted here because this ended up hurting a lot more people than just the two people involved. It hurt a lot more people than just the two people involved, and just the two people who were basically made the comments. And I said I initially had 5. This one story took an hour to do. So, but before I continue here, I've got to step away from the computer for a moment. I'll be right back. Already an hour and a half here. So I am going to try to get through the rest of the article tonight if at all possible. Anyways, I'll be right back. All right. So, anyways, we now get ready to move on to the next article here, and I will try to. We're already at. I know we're already at the hour and a half. We're past the hour and a half mark, so I'm going to go ahead and try to speed things along here if possible. All right, Black Adam's descendant to replace the dying anti-hero. The new series by Christopher Priest. Article by J.B. Augustine. Christopher Priest is the new writer of Black Adam, and he explores the question of whether the anti-hero can be redeemed in a series drawn by Rafa Sandoval. So, Superman Shazam, The Return of Black Adam in 2010 there. Where they get the picture. To get to the answer, Priest is taking the man from Kahndaq to the brink of death while introducing his descendant who will inherit his power and become his replacement. Quote, there is no forgiveness for Black Adam, unquote, says the solicitation for Black Adam number 1. This is the reality of Teth Adam, an immortal man of indomitable will must face when he discovers that he has been infected with an incurable plague, destroying his immortality. But first, an unforeseen snafu entangled them in a bond akin to the dynamic duo and far more volatile. The description continues, quote, haunted by the specter of centuries of dark deeds, Black Adam transfers his powers to a worthy successor who will redeem Adam's legacy and defend their ancestral homeland of Kahndaq, only to subsequently become mysteriously handcuffed to him when Adam's plague is arrested, giving birth to perhaps the most volatile and dysfunctional super team in DC history. Unquote. The partner, and soon to be much more to Black Adam introduced in the first issue, now on sale, is Malik Adam, who by issue number 4, in an early spoiler, will be christened Thunderbolt, or Bolt for short. DC released a solicitation for the 4th issue recently, and it refers to Malik as Adam's, quote, youthful successor, unquote. Ready for the burden or not, Malik also has the tough test of Etrigan to prove his worthiness. So Adam has dispatched Etrigan the demon, an unlikely ally, to either train his youthful successor or kill him, unquote, says. Teth Adam is haunted by his millennia of sins, including a race of demagogues um, he may or not have let loose on the world ages ago. But the original sin he must atone for here is the murder of his nephew Amon, which he committed when the boy was bestowed the power of Shazam. Quote, Malik represents Black Adam's second chance. Black Adam's origin, for those of you who don't know, is that the Wizard Shazam chose the slave boy named Amon to receive the Shazam power and to be his champion. Unquote. Priest. It's obviously, I would guess, is post-crisis origin. Quote, and Teth Adam is Amon's uncle, and Teth Adam helped Amon escape slavery. Amon decided he wanted to share the power with his uncle. Quote, why don't we both have the power and we'll be like Batman and Robin in smaller quotes. And Teth Adams like in smaller quotes, okay, cool, unquote. Included. Tragically, Tess had other ideas. So Shazam says in smaller quote, "Speak my name, and you both shall receive the power." And at the moment um, that he spoke Shazam, the Shazam word, Ted Adam reached around and snapped the boy's neck and killed him because he wanted the power for himself. I think that's what you say, the power for himself. Black Adam wishes to make amends and do it right what is wrong. Malik may do that and become a real hero. The kind conduct and the world needs. The kid appears to be on the right track if the symbolism of his costume is anything to go by. In a cerebral testament to his righteousness, Malik Adam wears a bright white costume that symbolizes the inverse of Teth Adam. Similar to Jonathan Kent and other replacements for popular characters, quote unquote Thunderbolt, Malik Adam um, takes a greater share of Black Adam's responsibility starting in issue 4, which goes on sale in September. Mere weeks before Black Adam movie, starring Dwayne Johnson, at theaters. All right, and that's the end of that article. That was a pretty interesting story there. Kind of an interesting follow up to the one we just read. And that one actually went a little quick. It went pretty quickly. All right, so here's the next one we're going to do, and this will be the last comics article we're going to go through. Actually, I'm going to have to probably step away from the camera for a moment, so I'll be right back. Hey, Coach Six Gaming, what's your favorite uh, I have no idea. Things are beyond. Well, don't have any outright opinions on him. He's a character in a book there or in a anime. Anyways, as I said, I got to step away from the computer for a moment. I'll be right back. Alrighty then. Marvel Comics introduced new gay Spider-Man variants in upcoming Spider-Verse series. Article by Paul Hare, published, you know, I would have already thought they would have already done so, but anyway, in a move that should surprise absolutely no one, Marvel Comics is set to introduce yet another LGBT plus character to their dwindling readership, this time in the form of a multiversal Spider-Man variant. As revealed in their recently published September solicits, this new web slinger is set to debut in the fifth and final issue of Marvel's upcoming Edge of the Spider-Verse miniseries, whose anthology of stories will serve as a prelude to longtime Spider-Man author Dan Slott's previously announced plans to quote unquote end concept of the spider multiverse and send it out quote, in a blaze of glory, probably pushing a whole bunch of agendas along the way. Created by writer Steve Fox, X-Men 92 um, House of XP, so in 90, House of 92, an artist in Roman numerals, I love this. Uh, the Starfer Anka, called New X Factor. Web Weaver is described as a quote a not so mild mannered fashion designer at Van Dyne, bracket two, gets spider powers and shows us a very different kind of spider slip. Following the issue's official public reveal, Fox took to his personal Twitter to excitedly confirm, quote, surprise! I had the huge gay honor of helping to co-create Web Weaver, who will make his debut in Edge of the Spider-Verse #5 this September. Quote, designed by the one and only Krista Ferranca, um, cover by Jose Maria Casanova, with our interior artist revealed soon, he added. Alongside his tweet, Fox also shared an image of the issue's aforementioned cover, which, in addition to a spider variant of Craven the Hunter, known as Hunter Spider, presented readers with their first glimpse at web weaving. Therein, the hero can be seen wearing a yellow and black costume that features a number of interesting design choices, including a high collar with ruffles, open flowing sleeves, and heavy eyelashes around the eye port on his mask. Webweaver is also posed in a somewhat stereotypical fashion. Notably, some fans and major outlets, like including CBR and Screen Rant, have taken to referring to Webweaver as Marvel's quote first gay Spider-Man unquote. The latter outlet even asserting that quote it's long past time that the LGBTQ plus community gets to be represented there more and more. Unquote. Is that really the case? Concept of the Spider-Verse is built on the existence of different variations of Spider-Man, Peter Parker, or otherwise across different universes. It's possible that Webweaver is intended to be a version of the actual wall crawler. A closer look at the issues solicit hints that this may not be the case, as Marvel specifically refers to him as a very different kind of spider slayer. This part sticks out due to the fact that spider slayers were originally portrayed as villains, commissioned by J. Jonah Jameson, built by inventor Spencer Smythe, who will play Spider-Man. Is the description saying Webweaver is supposed to be one of them? So, then wouldn't that mean he's not really analogous to Spider-Man, but rather villain turned hero like Venom or the Prowler? Yeah, I think the sun's gotten down low enough now that I can go ahead and then I'm probably off camera for one more 10 years per minute. Anyways, I'm back. You want to click on the article? All right, continuing the article here. Further, while the web weaver may be the first gay male Spider variant, he is first one overall in Marvel history. That would be the Mary Jane Watson of Earth 8545, who made her debut as Spider-Woman in 2003's Exiles Volume 1, Number 20. Eventually came to fall in love with the version of Sunfire who was on the reality hopping team's roster. It's from Exiles Volume 1, Number 34 thing. All right. Perhaps I'm not reading the description right, or perhaps there's something else that I'm missing. Regardless, those who want to find out if Web Weaver is indeed the first gay Spider-Man can read the comic book when it comes out in September. What do you make of Web Weaver? Let us know your thoughts on social media. Really don't care, but it's always possible. That is one twist that could be there. Just you know, but the thing is, they're doing it too much now in terms of the idea of now it's just they're trying to just use legacy characters to push agendas. That's my overall take on everything. Anyways, we got a couple of anime articles to go through, and then so here we go. We'll get right to it. New trailer for Tokyo Revenger Season 2 confirms premiere date, debuts new voice actor for Draken following 2021 scandal. Nerdigans Inc. Article by Nerdigans Inc. published, published yesterday. It may be June, but we're already dreaming of a White Christmas showdown. That is, as the latest trailer for the anime adaptation in Wakui's um, Tokyo Revengers manga has confirmed both the official premiere date for the series take on the Christmas Showdown arc and debut of Draken's new voice actor. I guess we're going to be reminded here at some point of what's going on here. I don't know if they're meaning the Japanese voice actor the or the English voice actor, but I guess we'll find out. Released by animation studio Light and Films on June 18th, the trailer with off starts off. Okay, I think starts off with supposed to be what it is. The series' main protagonist, Time Leaper, Tokyo Majin Gang first captain, division captain Takamichi Hanagaki, character voiced in Japanese here by Yuki Shin, who is Natsuo Todoroki in My Hero Academia. Talking to his friend and the leader Mikey, voiced by Yu Hayashi, who is Ino Takuma in Jujutsu Kaisen, about an incident occurring in Shibuya, exclaiming, quote, Mikey-kun was, what's wrong? Shibuya only now. I'll hurry up. The trailer then turns to the First Division Vice Captain Katora Hanamiya, character voiced by Shinichi Toki, who is Alosair Schneider in Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, who chimes in, quote, Shibuya is a bit of a mess. I guess there's nothing we can do about it. Unquote. Next, we're presented with a bit of banter between Third Division Captain Haruki Pachin Hayashida, voiced by Subaru Kimura in Japanese from Kamen Rider Vice, Kamen Rider Revice, and Ryohei Hayashi, voiced by Yukihiro Nozuyama, who voiced Takuma Nagitsuji in Gundam Breaker Battlelog. Hayashi begins by asking Pachin, which way is Shibuya? Unquote. To which his leader responds, quote, I'm stupid, what do I know? Unquote. He then finds he feels better about himself, as in his words, Pachin's brain is a bit smaller. Next up is Second Division Commander Takahashi Mitsuya, voiced by Yoshitsugu Matsuoka, who of course voiced was the Japanese voice for Teruki Hanazawa in Mob Psycho 100, who declares, quote, let's meet in Shibuya this year. Got it? Unquote. Mitsuya is then followed by First Division Vice Captain Shifuyu Matsuno, who's voiced by Shao Carino, who voiced Fran in Ascendance of a Bookworm, who is seen alerting First Division Captain Keisuke Baiji, um, voiced by Masaki Mizunaka from Kakuro Ryuin Classroom of the Elite, um, to the situation brewing in Shibuya. Baiji himself, who is very excited for the showdown that is about to go down in Shibuya, and Vice Leader Ken Draken Ryuji as he reminds Mikey to not be late for the upcoming Rumble. Notably, this trailer marks the debut of Masaya Fukunishi, who voices KK um, in Kikai Sentai Zen Tiger, as Draken's new voice actress, replacing previous VA Tatsu Isa Suzuki, who of course was the Japanese voice for Bond in Seven Deadly Sins in the role. Oh yeah, I think I did hear. If I understand correctly, I just have to wait and see here, but I think this guy may have gotten in trouble for something. Something very naughty. His move was made in light of the announcement by Suzuki that he would be taking an extended hiatus from all industry activities after an alleged scandalous extramarital affair between him and a female work associate was made public. Suzuki is married to pop star Lisa, who is best known for performing the iconic opening theme song for Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. She's done quite a few theme songs, probably one of our most well-known ones. The trailer ends its montage of Tokyo Majin Gang members with Mikey himself declaring, wait, let's face it, like Haichiko, um, a reference to the Japanese cultural icon of loyalty, and proceeding to ask his team, quote, are you ready? Finally, the trailer ends on a shot of a new key visual alongside the image of the Tokyo Majin Gang, um, can be sitting on the snow-covered steps of a church, revealed the season's official premiere date of January 2023. You excited for the Christmas showdown? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right, so we have one more article to get through, and then we will um, wrap up. All right, so let's get to this next article then. Rockstar murder mystery manga Oshi no Ko to finally receive anime adaptation. Article by Nerdigans published yesterday. All right, coming off the heels of me and Roboco's anime adaptation announcement, who coincidentally just parodied the cover of the first of the series' first volume for the cover of its latest release, popular psychological slice of life manga Hoshi no Ko is finally getting an anime adaptation of its own. On June 9th, a newly created Oshin no Ko anime Twitter account announced news that the series production. News of the site of the series production was first announced on June 9th by its newly created anime Twitter account, who, alongside the reveal, shared Oshinoko's first key visual. As seen above, key visual depicts pop star Ai Oshino as she takes the stage to perform for her fans. Post series author Akasaka of Kaguya-sama Love is War and illustrator Mengo Yokoyari, some wish, shared their excitement to the announcement via their respective Twitter. That's right. Quote, that's right. We are going to animate Ushino Ko, said Akasaka via detail. Quote, we're planning it now, so please look forward to it. Please look forward to it. Seeing herself a little bit there. Reacting with a tweet reading best regards, quote, best regards, unquote, Yoko Yaro shared a new illustration of protagonists Aqua and Ruby she drew in commemoration of the news. Um, in the image itself, the artist wrote a number of messages, including beginning clock work from top left. Quote, thanks for the support. We're going to make an anime. Wow. Colored, moving, speaking, dancing, singing. The two also provided additional comments um, to the to the adaptation's official website. Akasaka told fans, "quote I've been attending the meetings, and I am hoping that I can do something that will surprise you all. I think it's going to be as good as be a good piece, and I hope you're looking forward to it." Unquote. Yokoyari promised the staff has been very respectful of the original work, so I think it will be satisfying for those who love the original work, and of course for those who are new to the anime. It's got idols, entertainment, singing, and dancing, so expect a lot of it. Further, it was announced that the adaptation will be directed by Daisuke Hiramaki, whose filmography includes such anime series as Selection Project, Asteroid in Love, and Wataten. An Angel Flew Down Me for animation studio Yoga Kobo, Shigemori's Matsukiri, Imoto Umaru-chan, Um, retweeting the official anime Twitter account announcement, Hiramaki added, "It's announced, quote, it's announced I will be the director. Enjoy," unquote. Let's see. Kana Hirayama, the artist behind the key visual and the anime character's designer, also provided some insight into her artistic process for the piece. Excuse me a moment. I'm going to step away from the computer. I'm going to step away from the camera for a quick moment. I'll be right back. I'll leave you some music to listen to doing it. All right, I'm back now. Oh, the teaser visual, shoot background finish is great. Unquote. She wrote, and quote, the director asked me to make the illustrations look like original, so I did a little coloring of the characters. I loved this illustration, which would never have been created by a single person because it was a group effort. Oshi no Ko's anime announcement subsequently drew congratulations for Akasaka and Yoko Yari from a number of their fellow mangaka, including me and Roboko creator Shuei Miyazaki, who stated, quote, Mango Sensei, congratulations, unquote. Mangaka and popular dark fantasy series Made in Abyss, manga of the popular dark fantasy series Made in Abyss, Akihito Tsukushi, um, who tweeted, quote, yay, congratulations, unquote. Though not a mangaka outright, Twitter user and artist at Jump Blog celebrated the announcement by producing a commemorative piece of art depicting an outfit swap between Roboko and I, play on Miyazaki's noted admiration of the series to its creation, to its creative. Quote, I, Hoshino, and Taira Robobo, unquote, they wrote, quote, congrats on the double anime adaptation of Oshi no Ko and me and Roboko. Currently, Oshi no Ko lacks an English language transfer for its physical release. release. Um, However, the series is available to read via visual simulpub for free on Shueisha's official manga app, Manga Plus, which will be releasing 4 chapters every Wednesday until it is caught up with the series. Beginning with the series tagline, quote, "In a world of showbiz, lies are weapons," unquote. A synopsis for Oshino Ko, provided by Manga Plus, explains Goro works as an OB/GYN in the countryside, a life far removed from the entertainment industry. Meanwhile, his favorite idol, Ai Hoshino, has begun her climb to stardom. To meet in the smaller quote, worst possible way, setting the gears of fate in motion. Are you excited for Oshinoko's anime adaptation? Let us know your thoughts and comments on social media. Well, it does sound like a very interesting situation there. Now that we're done with that part, start to wind down a bit here. Let me see. Let me just. What am I doing? All right. So, anyways, getting onto the wrestling roundup here a little bit. So last night's Raw had John Cena making his return to Raw to celebrate 20 years in the business. 20 years on, well, not in the business, but 20 years with the WWE. And he had basically good reactions to both faces and heels throughout the night. Um, you know, and they got permission from Tony Khan of AEW to allow some of the former WWE wrestlers, namely like Daniel Bryan, Chris Jericho, Paul White, to basically show up on Raw via video to congratulate Cena on 20 years. Among some of the other things that happened, of course, for the women's Money in the Bank match, Becky Lynch had secured the final spot, and Riddle secured one of the last 2 spots for the men's Money in the Bank. And now I guess maybe on Friday here on SmackDown, they're going to have the match, I think, between Ezekiel and Kevin Owens to determine the final participant in the men's Money in the Bank match. So that's all that was going on. And of course, AEW tomorrow night will have its Blood and Guts event on Dynamite. I think, as far as I know, members of the Jericho Appreciation Society of Chris Jericho, Daniel Garcia, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, who many of you would remember as Jack Swagger from the WWE fame, Angelo Parker and Matt Menard take on the Blackpool Combat Club, which I believe are members of, with John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and then also joining them as part of the match, Eddie Kingston, Ortiz, and Santana. Let me just see if there's any other matches that have been signed for that yet, or that's going to be the only thing. That I think is the only match thus far signed. Let's go ahead and double check that. Let's see now. Blood and Guts show being in Detroit, Michigan. Let's see, at the Little Caesars Arena. 2 matches have been signed. Orange Cassidy will be facing off against Ethan Page with Dan Lambert in his corner. And the Blood and Guts match itself is, as I said, the Jericho Appreciation Society. Members of Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Daniel Garcia, Angelo Parker, Matt Menard, and Jake Hager taking on members of Blackpool Combat Club of Claudio Castagnoli, interim AEW World Heavyweight Champion John Moxley, and ROH Pure Champion Wheeler Yuta, along with Eddie Kingston, Ortiz, and Santana, with William Regal in their corner. So that's all of that I have for you there on that. All right. So anyway, so that's all for that now. So I think it's a good time to start winding down the show here. We're at 2 hours 22 minutes already. One story took like well over an hour, so almost hour and a half just to get to that first story. But we got through all the stories tonight. So what we'll do now is we'll of course try to hit up the this day in each history. Today being um, today being Tuesday, June 28th. I'm going to go ahead and take a look back at this day in each history. History! And the first one here. The first one is go back 60 years ago today. On this date, 60 years ago today, the 75th issue of Fox and the Crow from DC Comics went on sale on this date. It was a bi-monthly release, sold for 12 cents. Had 4 stories in it, 3 of them Fox and the Crow, and Hound and the Hare was the other one. I believe these were based on like some of the film shorts that were still being done by the time. I think at this point it was like Fox and the Crow were film shorts that were done by famous studios. Were part of the Harvey. I think Fox and Crow may have been part of the Harvey Toons. Animation, but in this case, DC was the one doing the comics here. So with that, on this date 60 years ago today, the 75th issue of Fox and the Crow went on sale on this date. Now moving ahead to 1972, 50 years ago today, as on this date 50 years ago today, Edouard Carpentier would regain Edouard Carpentier up in Montreal would regain the Grand Prix wrestling heavyweight title from Mad Dog Vachon on this date 50 years ago today. Edouard Carpentier would regain the Grand Prix heavyweight title from Mad Dog Vachon up in Montreal. Also, moving on to the next piece of niche history. On this date, 20 years ago today, Nickelodeon Animation Studios would release Hey Arnold the movie. On this date, 20 years ago today, Hey Arnold the movie was released by Nickelodeon Animation Studios. And last but not least, on this date in 2012, anyways. All right, on this date in 2012, the following animes would complete their runs on this date in AIC's Place to Place and Studio Dean's Sankarea Undying Love would complete their runs on TBS on Tokyo Broadcasting System on this date in 2012, 10 years ago today. So 10 years ago today, AIC's Place to Place and Studio Dean's Sankarea Undying Love would complete their runs on Tokyo Broadcasting System. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I thank everybody for liking the shares. I do appreciate them. Hope everybody has a good night. Okay, so remember this Friday, RJ Carter from Critical Blast will be coming in to co-host with me on our weekly historical comics retrospect. This week we'll be finishing up our February 1939 coverage, focusing in on quality comics, in particular, of course, Features Funny Volume 1, number 18. We're reading Features The Clock and Espionage process. And don't forget this Monday, July the 4th. Here in the state, with it being Independence Day, the show will be a bit preempted as we will be doing an open panel night. So I'll be sending you guys a link. Anybody wants to join in and just hang out and talk about niche, whatever niche comes to mind. With that, thank everybody for being here, and I look forward to seeing everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.